Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I will be talking about the pros and cons about doing the IB program. So I kind of decided to make this video because it's like the middle of choosing your high school season, at least in my area. I have a list of pros and cons, and yeah, so let's just get right into it. The first pro is the challenging coursework. Now you might be like, why do I want challenging coursework? Well, I mean, okay, so as someone who likes to do school, like I love doing academic stuff. I don't like to be bored in class, so it's more fun for me to have a challenge. And if you're that kind of person, then definitely try IB out because it's very challenging at times. There's a lot of things that you've never learned before. In IB, for example, you don't just stick with US history, you also get to do European history and like more modern history, so you know, that's something to look forward to. All right, next up we have good friends. Now you might be like, oh yeah, no, but I can find good friends anywhere. But what I mean by good, like good friends are like friends that are academically focused, and that might not be everyone's cup of tea. Like I know friends aren't just for academic reasons, but if you ever have to have something like figured out or you like miss the homework or something, I think IB kids are kind of like, they stick together more, at least in my opinion. Like it's easy to just ask someone, be like, hey, what was the homework, or like, can you share your document with me? Like it's really easy. So yeah, your friends will always have your back. All right, next up we have the GPA boost. Now this one's kind of obvious, but basically IB like has a weighted sort of GPA similar to AP. So for example, if you get an A, it won't count as just a 4.0, it'll be more than that, and that depends how much per school. But basically by having like, for me, I have all AP or IB classes, so now my GPA is like super weighted. So if you're really like into that sort of GPA boost kind of thing, you know, definitely look at IB because a lot of the later classes, especially junior and senior year, have a lot of weight in them, and I think actually more than AP classes. So you know, just keep that in mind. IB also helps you develop really good study habits, and this actually depends per person because obviously like you can be in a challenging like course and not have good study habits. But I found out for me, definitely having that sort of pressure to do all my homework on time and like the strict deadlines and everything made me kind of more like strict on myself. So I stopped, like obviously you can't stop procrastinating, like that just doesn't happen overnight, but I've been able to kind of get into the habit of using my study halls or my free time to just kind of like get it done slowly. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like rather than doing all your homework in like one night, I've kind of been able to learn how to stretch it out over like 5 days and have nothing overdue. And then also going along with that and the prepping for college part, it is really good for keeping you busy. If you're the kind of person that just can't stand having nothing to do or you just like really like doing academic work, then IB will always definitely keep you busy. There's a lot of homework. At least at my school, there's like a lot of homework, there's obviously a lot of writing, and once you get into junior and senior year, there's a lot of timed essays. So, you know, work on your writing skills, and if you really like that kind of thing, then, you know, you can stay busy, and IB is a good place to get all that busy work. And the last pro, and this one might be the most important one for some people who are considering traveling or doing college abroad, but it is recognized worldwide. So unlike AP, which is only a US kind of thing, so when you go out of the US, it's kind of like harder to translate that. For IB, it's recognized worldwide. So for example, if you wanted to go to school in England or Switzerland, they will recognize your IB credit. They'll weigh that more than your AP classes or other people taking AP classes. Like you have an advantage over them in that aspect. So if you're kind of like a traveling kind of person, if you want to do college abroad, then IB is a good place to do high school and also have a higher weight on admissions when you're going to other colleges outside of the US. Some of those might have been cons for you, but next up I have the cons that I personally don't like about doing IB. So the first one is challenging coursework. So I literally said that as a pro, right? So it is challenging, but the problem is sometimes it's a little too challenging. I don't know how to really describe it, but at a certain point it's just like it feels really hard to continue going with your coursework, and you really have to have that right kind of mentality to keep going, because I swear sometimes they'll be teaching me like actually random things. Anyways, yeah, so some work you'll enjoy it being challenging. For example, I really enjoy history and English, but some things like math and science, I really didn't enjoy the challenging part of that. So you know, just keep that in mind. Everything's gonna be challenging, not just the parts that you like. Next one is difficult deadlines. Now that's kind of the one that went along with my pro of like developing good study habits, is the deadlines, because especially junior senior year, once again, that's when IB really like picks it up and you like go into the official IB program. But the deadlines are really strict, and some of the teachers that are more strict like don't even allow any wiggle room at all. For example, my history teacher, because one time I turned in my assignment to history at like 9 o'clock in the morning before I went to that class, but it was due at 7:20 because that's when school starts. So I missed the deadline by 2 hours and I was still in school and everything, I still did it, and I got a 0 on the assignment. So, you know, just some teachers are going to be more strict than others on the deadlines, but the official IB policy is that no late work should be taken at all. So if you're kind of like bad with deadlines, yeah, just keep that in mind. Next one to kind of go along with that bad teacher thing is you're kind of stuck with a bad teacher if you have one. So for example, at my school, we have both non-IB and IB, but the problem is a lot of the IB teachers, there's not a lot of them per subject. So for example, English, you only have like 1 or 2 options, and like when you get to the really niche ones, there's only one teacher. For example, for languages, for electives, like I'm sure that's pretty regular, but a lot of the times the IB teachers are more strict and they expect more from you. So if you're stuck with a bad teacher who's really strict on deadlines or like just doesn't like you, like you're kind of stuck with them. So hate to break it to you, especially languages, but I feel like languages do that like no matter if they're IB or not, so it's fine. Alright, the next one is more of a financial issue, but the exams are really expensive. So for me, I'm taking 2 IB exams and 2 AP exams this year. My AP exams are 194, I think. But yeah, that was my AP exam total, but my IB exam total was 230 for 2 exams. So they're more expensive than AP exams, and also they're formatted differently. Basically, IB exams are more writing oriented, and like AP exams do have the FRQ portion, but I'm pretty sure IB exams are like either mostly or all writing. So they're expensive and they're also different from the AP exams. So if you want to like kind of look into that sort of area, then just look up what IB exams are like. Obviously you can get financial aid and everything. I'm just saying, like, if you're someone who can't get financial aid because you're like right in the middle of that financial area, then yeah, just keep that in mind. Alright, this one is exclusive to IB only, so if you're an AP student, you won't ever have this problem, but you can't back out of IB after sophomore year. Like, you can, but at that point, it'll just not be worth it. So for example, I joined IB in 9th grade, and I've been doing it up until now. Right now I'm in 11th grade. So 11th and 12th grade is like the actual DP program, which is like the serious kind of like 2-year span. And after sophomore year, you have the choice to either just not continue IB because you're in the NYP program for 9th and 10th grade. You can decide to either go up to the DP 11th and 12th program, or you can just stop doing IB. So I would say if you even are considering doing IB, you should do IB for at least freshman year. And if you don't like it, drop out of IB. In sophomore year, if you don't like it, you should probably also drop out of IB, but definitely don't drop out after junior year, because after junior year, it'll just feel like it's not worth it anymore to drop out, because you'll already start getting your exams, you'll have your first IAs done, like all that work would have been for nothing. So if you want to drop IB, drop it before you start your junior year, definitely. And the last con I have is mental health. Okay, so this one is kind of just applicable to all of high school, but especially for IB, where it's like a very competitive environment. And yeah, you get like good friends and everything, but everybody still has this kind of awareness that we're all like trying to succeed academically, especially if you're in an IB, because it's like an academic program. But the competition's high, and a lot of times your friends or people you know will be doing a lot more things than you are extracurricular wise. Like, I have a friend who's literally starting a nonprofit, doing like these medical internships, and like obviously I don't even want to go into medicine, like that's just not my thing, but just seeing all these people doing so well, it's a little bit hard to not compare yourself to them. I have a lot of issues with comparing myself, but you just have to kind of get through it and just kind of focus on your own path, because all these people are just trying to do as best as they can, doing the IB program in their school, you know, like the top courses and whatever. Like, you're all just here trying to succeed. That is all of my advice for today. If you found any of this helpful, you know, like and subscribe. And obviously I know I repeat a lot of things that people in other videos say, like I haven't really watched them, but I'm just assuming that it's like the same general advice. But as someone who's currently in IB and is currently like a junior in the midst of like the thick of IB, this is just my experience. So if you have anything to add, you know, tell me in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.